Level 1, the sweeper. You didn't fall into this, you asked 3 times. The third morning you were at the roll-up door at 4 and a man needed a hand with a hindquarter, so you took the other end of it. Nobody says welcome. Somebody says wash that. The job is a hose, a bone barrel, a plastic scraper, and a bucket of sanitizer at 200 parts per million. That takes the skin off your knuckles by week 2. Every night you strip the bandsaw down, the blade, the pulleys, the wheels, the tray of bone dust underneath that weighs more than it has any right to. You scrape the block with a steel brush until the wood goes pale. You sweep out the sawdust and put down new sawdust, and the new sawdust is the best part of the day. $14.50 an hour, 22 hours a week. That is gas, a phone bill, and one thing you want per month if you skip the thing you wanted last month. You are 19 and you have been awake since 3. The cooler holds at 34 degrees and you learn that cold is not a temperature. It is a slow argument with your hands that you lose every morning around 6. A guy starts the same week you do. He is better at this than you are. On day 9, his apron is back on the hook, clean, and nobody says his name again, and nobody ever will. You are not allowed to touch a knife. You are allowed to look at them. There is a magnetic strip bolted over the block with 6 on it, and one of them is wrong. The blade is half the width of the others, curved back into itself like something worn down by water. It belongs to Desi, who has not spoken to you yet. You ask what happened to it. 26 years, he says, and goes back to work, and you think about that answer for the rest of the shift. By 8, the shop smells like bleach laid over blood, and so do you in your hair on the bus in your room at night. Your friends stop asking. You are asleep by 8:30 like a child. Out front, Bev runs the counter with a grease pencil behind her ear. When she wants something, she taps the glass twice. For 8 months, she taps it at other people. Then one Saturday, she taps it at you. Level 2, the counter hand. 8 months in, 16 an hour, full-time, and a paper hat you hate. The case gets built at 6. Ground on the bottom, chicken on the second shelf, the expensive cuts at eye level where the light is good. Everything faces the same direction. Everything gets rotated. Everything that turned overnight comes out before the door unlocks. You learn 40 names in a month. Chuck eye is not ribeye. It wants to be. It costs $11 less a pound. And that is the entire conversation. Flat iron out of the top blade. Tri-tip off the bottom sirloin. Picanha, which nobody in this neighborhood asked for until suddenly everybody did. A woman comes in with 11 people arriving Sunday and no idea what to do about it. You do the math out loud for her. Half a pound bone-in per person, so 7 pounds. So a 3-bone standing rib. She listens to you the way people listen to somebody who knows something. Nobody has ever done that before. You go stand in the cooler afterward for no reason at all. Bev says it later without looking up, writing a price on the glass. They are not buying meat. They are buying whether you looked at them. The cold and the bleach split your knuckles open across the top. You start taping them before your shift like a fighter, and in February they bleed through the tape anyway. The doorway to the cutting room is 4 feet wide and it takes you 8 months to walk through it. Then Desi, who has never once used your name, uses your name. Level 3, the Apprentice. 2 years in, 22 years old, $17.25 an hour, a raise that matters less to you than the doorway did. You buy your own knife because everybody buys their own knife. A 6-inch curved boning knife, $38, and a steel. The first thing Desi does is take it off you and change the way you hold it. 3 fingers and a thumb. The blade stays quiet. 8 cuts, then the steel, always, until the ring of steel becomes the sound of the room to you. Chickens first. Hundreds of chickens. 8-piece cut, wings, thighs, drums, breast off the keel in one motion, then pork loin into chops at 1 1/4 inch, which you get wrong for 3 straight weeks and then never get wrong again. Desi works with a coffee that has been cold since 5, and a steel swinging off his hip on a piece of string. He does not look at what he is cutting. He looks at the far wall. When you ask him how, he says, "The animal decides. You just learn to agree with it faster." In March, the knife rolls off a joint and goes into the web of your thumb. 4 stitches at an urgent care that closes at 9. You are back the next morning in a glove you are not supposed to cut in, because the alternative is somebody else standing at your block. That patch of thumb never gets its feeling back. For the rest of your life, it will tell you about rain and nothing else. Then Desi starts standing behind you with his watch out. Level 4, the cutter. 23 an hour. Your name written on the schedule under the word cutter in Halverson's handwriting. And Halverson owns this shop and counts the case out loud with a pencil every morning like he is checking it is still there. Speed and yield. Those are the only 2 things now. You bone a pork shoulder in 90 seconds. Desi does it in 50 while talking to Bev about her car. Grinder plate at 3/16, 80/20, one pass, no smearing. Sausage at 70/30 with 2.5% salt, mixed until it goes tacky and not 1 second longer. Holiday week is 400 pounds of turkey, a clipboard of prime rib orders, and no lunch from Tuesday to Sunday. In October, you take a rib primal and run 2 inches into the eye of it. $340 of ribeye becomes stew meat. Halverson writes the number on the office whiteboard and never mentions it to you. Not that day. Not ever. And that is worse than anything he could have said. Nobody tells you that skill is mostly the absence of waste. You find that out by weighing it. There is a tray on the 3rd shelf a day past its color. Legal. Safe. Still fine technically, and the technically is the part that follows you home. Halverson says grind it. You grind it. You think about it on the bus. Both your hands go to sleep at night now, at 25 years old, and you shake them awake at 3 in the morning and go to work. Nobody warns you about the level after the next one. The hardest one in this trade is not the one with a knife in it. In November, Desi coughs in the cooler and does not stop. On the 18th, he does not come in, and Halverson looks at you and reads the schedule out loud. Level 5, the head cutter, 29, 31 an hour and a key to the building, which is the raise that actually means something. Sides now. A beef side comes in on the rail at 380 pounds and you take it apart. Chuck, rib, plate, brisket, loin, flank, round. About 240 pounds of that ends up in the case. Where the other 140 went is the entire argument of this trade, and you can now win that argument with a scale. December 23rd, 4 in the morning. Desi in a bed across town with a tube taped to his arm. The rail is loaded. Nobody else is coming until 6. You put a flat hand on the cold fat and it does not feel like a task. The room is 34 degrees and your breath hangs in front of you under the one light you bothered turning on. The saw stays off. You start at the seam between the chuck and the rib with the knife instead, because that is where Desi always started. And the muscle opens along a line that was already sitting inside it. Nothing tears. Nothing needs correcting. The chuck comes away whole into your arms at 90 pounds, and you have to step back under the weight of it, and for about 4 seconds you are not thinking about anything at all, which has not happened to you since you were a child. By 6, the case is built. You take a photograph of it, which you have never done in your life. Desi looks at the photo 2 weeks later, hands the phone back and says, "That's a butcher's case." That is the most anyone in this trade will ever say to you. Your sister gets married on a Saturday in December. Saturday is 40% of the week. You are not at the wedding, and she tells you it is fine, and it is fine, and it is not. Monday, there is an invoice taped to the walk-in door with your initials written in the corner of it. Level 6, the buyer. 34, salary now, 68,000, which sounds bigger than an hourly number until you count the hours nobody is paying you for. $40,000 of meat a month goes through your hands before it goes through anyone else's. You watch the cutout the way other people watch weather. You drive 2 hours out on a Tuesday, stand in a field, shake a hand, and agree to take a whole animal every 2 weeks for a year at $4.10 a pound hanging weight, which is a promise about cooler space you have not entirely thought through. Halverson gives you his one law at the desk, with the pencil. Meat you own is a clock. It starts the second it is yours. You buy 6 sides in a week the forecast calls clear. It rains Thursday through Sunday. Nobody comes. You mark down, you grind, you cure what will take cure, and you still eat $2,100 out of a bonus nobody knew you had. The next spring you call a holiday order right to within 11%, and not one person notices. And that is when you understand the shape of the rest of it. The mistakes are events. The wins are just Tuesdays. You stop sleeping properly. There is a spreadsheet open on your phone at dinner. Bev retires in June and the glass has no grease pencil marks on it anymore, and it looks wrong for a full year. Then you drive past a shuttered sandwich place on Fulton with paper in the window and a phone number on the paper, and you write the number on the back of an invoice. Level 7, the owner, 38. $310,000 borrowed on a personal guarantee, which is a phrase that means the bank can have your house. Nobody warned you about this one. This is the one. Your hands stop being the job. Nobody tells you about the 14-year-old grease trap. Nobody tells you about the temperature logs you will fill out twice a day for the rest of your working life. Nobody tells you about payroll for 6 people whose rent is due whether or not it rained. The compressor dies in August at 11 at night. 1,100 pounds of product, a rented reefer truck, and 2 of your guys guys who showed up without being asked. The three of you carry a shop into a truck in a parking lot until 3 in the morning and almost nobody speaks. You open at 7. You cut 2 days a week now, and only on the days when there is nobody else. And those are the 2 days you like. 1.2 million in sales. 68% food cost. 3% at the bottom, which is $36,000, which you leave sitting in the account. Your partner asks how much of the house is in the shop. You give the honest answer, which is all of it, and then the two of you sit with that for a while. At 4 in the morning in November, there is a kid outside the roll-up door in a hoodie asking for the 3rd time. Level 8, the name, 46. 2.1 million in sales, 11 people on the books, 95,000 a year for yourself, which is less than your cutters would guess, and more than you ever planned for. Chefs call your cell phone. 2 farms send you everything they raise. There is a dry aging room now, 34 to 36 degrees, 45 days, 12% of the weight gone to the air, and another 8 to the trim. And people pay for that loss gladly because you can explain it in 1 sentence. Sunday mornings, you teach 12 people at $95 a seat how to break a hog. Half of them came to watch. 2 of them are going to do this for a living, and you can tell which 2 by 10 past 10. 8 years ago, you started cutting a piece off the chuck a certain way and gave it a name because it needed something on the label. 3 other shops in this city sell it under that name now. None of them knows where the name came from. None of them ever will. That is most of what a trade actually is. The kid from the door is here every morning at 4. You watch her destroy a pork shoulder. Take 4 minutes over a bone that should take 90 seconds, and you keep your hands in your pockets and let her finish it. Your name is on the sign, so you are not allowed a visible bad day, and you have had 11 years of invisible ones. In the morning, your hands take about 20 minutes to open all the way. Level 9, the old hands. 61. 2 mornings a week at the block, and the block is dished in the middle now, worn low by hands, some of them yours, and you were the one who used to scrape that wood pail at 6 in the morning for $14.50 an hour. You got a trade nobody can take off you, a building you own outright, 11 families fed by a thing that did not exist before you borrowed against your house, and a case people drive across town for on a Saturday. It cost the hearing on your saw side. It cost a thumb that never came back. It cost roughly 1,900 Saturdays, one of them a wedding, and the years between 38 and 46, which you cannot describe to anybody because you were not really inside them. The boning knife you bought for $38 is half the width it started at, curved back into itself like something worn down by water. 39 years. The girl from the door runs the block on the days you do not. She has her own hands now and her own coffee going cold by 5. On a Thursday, there is somebody new outside at 4 in the morning asking the 3rd time. You take the knife off the magnetic strip and put it in his hand. Hold it like you plan to put it down again. That is all anybody ever gave you. He turns it over, looking for the part that is missing. Nothing is missing. It went into 39 years of mornings, exactly like this one, and behind him the bone barrels are already full, and he has not put it down yet.